Green Bay. Midway through training camp, the Green Bay Packers have a good idea which group of core players they'll carry into Week 1 against the Chicago Bears. But competition is still open as the Packers enter the second half of their preseason. In a camp defined by its position battles, jobs on the fringe of the roster remain up for grabs. There's a lot to be determined, Coach Mike McCarthy said. There always is. Expect the Packers to primarily play their backups, young players fighting for roster spots, in their final two exhibitions Friday at Oakland and next week at Kansas City. Objection of where the Packers roster stands heading into their third exhibition shows 32 players as locks to make the team, 6 as good bets, 23 on the bubble, 28 long shots and 1 who will start the season suspended. Running back Aaron Jones, with camp winding down, General Manager Brian Gutekunst must submit his first 53-man roster to the league by 3 p.m. Sept. 1 players can be added to the practice squad at 11 a.m. Sept. 2 quarterbacks 2 to 3 lock, Aaron Rodgers and the bubble, Brett Hundley, the Schoen Kaiser long shot, Tim Boyle. A year ago, Hundley had a 101.6 passer rating midway through the preseason. So although Hundley's 86.3 rating midway through this preseason would not suggest improvement, he has made a handful of flash plays that keep the Packers optimistic. The highlight of his preseason was a perfect deep ball to receiver Davante Adams, who beat Tennessee Titans cornerback Malcolm Butler for 48 yards. Hundley then had scoring drives on each of his 3 possessions against the Pittsburgh Steelers, though only one ended with a touchdown. Meanwhile, Kaiser has a 108.1 rating and had a big game against the Steelers, but the offense scored only twice in his 4 possessions. The Packers seem poised to place Boyle on their practice squad. After looking sharp in his 15 passes against the Titans, he threw only 7 against the Steelers. The less Boyle plays, the better his chance of clearing waivers. It would be less than ideal for the Packers to keep 3 quarterbacks, considering it removes a roster spot from another position, but a far bigger problem would be releasing the wrong quarterback. Kaiser is a more dynamic athlete, but Hundley has better command of an offensive system he has developed in the past 4 seasons. 3 quarterbacks on the 53 seems more possible now than it did at the start of camp. Close. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers has been impressed with the 3 players vying to back him up. Packers news. Running backs 3 to 4 locks, Jamal Williams, Ty Montgomery good bet, Aaron Ripkowski on the bubble, Devontae Mays long shots, Joel Bouignon, Bronson Hill, LaShawn Daniels, Joker Ridge suspended, Aaron Jones 2 games. It's a good thing Williams returned to practice this week after injuring his ankle against the Steelers. While Montgomery gives the Packers a change-up option in their backfield, Williams is clearly the workhorse. Expect him to get the bulk of carries until Jones returns from his 2-game suspension, giving the Packers their 2 best runners. The question is whether the Packers will go light at running back in their first 2 weeks, or if Williams' punishing run style will entice them to retain a full backfield. Mays, a 7th-round pick last season, simply can't catch a break. After opening his career with fumbles on his first 2 carries last season and swiftly finding McCarthy's doghouse, Mays had a clean slate at the onset of camp. Needing a big preseason, he instead left practice with a torn hamstring on the 3rd day of August. There's still reason to believe in Mays' talent after he didn't get much chance to show what he can do last season or this preseason, and there could be a spot for him in the Packers' thin backfield, but time is running out. Receivers 6 to 7 locks, Davante Adams, Randall Cobb, Geronimo Allison good bet, Marquez Valdez-Scantling on the bubble, Trevor Davis, Jamon Moore, Equanimous Street, Brown, Jake Kumerow long shots, D'Angelo Yancey, Adonis Jennings, Kyle Lewis. Listen has quietly established himself as the no. receiver because of his big frame, consistent hands and reliability running routes. He's a professional receiver who has good chemistry with the quarterback, a prerequisite for garnering a role in this offense. Valdez-Scantling probably put himself on the 53 with a big-time preseason opener, catching 5 passes for 101 yards and a touchdown. He's still raw, but his combination of height 6'4" and speed 4.3840 might give him the highest upside of the 3 rookies. He's also shown more special teams value as a potential returner. Moore seemed poised for a significant role in the Packers' offense when camp began, but his inability to catch the football has him fighting for a roster spot. It's probably premature for the Packers to give up on Moore, a good athlete with separation skills, but the primary responsibility for a receiver is to catch. St. Brown has a rare size-speed combination and has had a steady camp, but there haven't been many flash plays. Related, Tunyon giving Packers tough tight end decision. You are the GM. Craft your 2018 Packers with roster builder with the rookies receiving much of the attention. Davis has been sidelined most of the month because of a strained hamstring. Injury has made his spot on the roster more vulnerable than if he were healthy, but the Packers love Davis's special teams ability. That's a good way for a receiver to earn a job. Kumaro appeared to play his way onto the 53-man roster early in camp, culminating with an 82-yard touchdown against the Steelers that showed big playability. But Kumaro injured his shoulder somersaulting into the end zone, putting his spot in jeopardy. It would be a lousy way to get cut. After the top 3, most spots remain up for grabs. Perhaps no position offers Gutekunst tougher decisions. The Packers kept 7 receivers 2 years ago, and it seems likely they'll open this fall with an excess at the position. But they aren't going to keep 8 receivers. Jobs will be on the line in the next 2 exhibitions. Tight ends 3, locks, Jimmy Graham, Mercedes Lewis, Lance Kendricks. Long shots, Robert Tunyon, Emmanuel Byrd, Ryan Smith, Kevin Rader. The Packers have their most experienced tight ends group in recent memory, but it only goes 3 deep. Graham has been a revelation this offseason and, if he carries it into the regular season, could be a huge, literally, asset to the offense. Lewis and Kendricks are solid veterans who fill a role. There has been enough flash from Tunyon and Byrd to earn a spot on the practice squad. If either could block, they might force the Packers' hand on the 53. As it stands, this is a 3-man position. Offensive line, 9 to 10. Locks, David Bakhtiari, Brian Bulaga, Lane Taylor, Justin McCray, Corey Linsley on the bubble, Kyle Murphy, Jason Spriggs, Byron Bell, Lucas Patrick, Adam Pankey, Dylan Day. Long shots, Kofi Amichia, Alex Light, Austin Davis. Starting 5 is set, cemented with Bulaga's remarkable recovery from a torn ACL last November. Murphy is the 3rd tackle and, despite his problems on the left side this preseason, solid on the right side. Spriggs has been a disappointment, unable to make a jump in a critical camp. He failed to start at right tackle over veteran Bell against the Titans, despite Bell profiling better as an interior lineman. Bell's versatility seems likely to earn him a roster spot, but the Packers will have to decide whether it's time to cut their losses with Spriggs. On the interior, Cole Madison's absence from camp left Patrick and Pankey to compete for the top backup job at guard. Patrick's versatility, he has taken center reps in the past week, has additional value. They could go either way depending on the final 2 exhibitions. Defensive line 5, locks, Mike Daniels, Kenny Clark, Mohamed Wilkerson, Dean Lowry. Goodbet, Montravius Adams. Long shots, James Looney, Tyler Lancaster, Joey MVU, Connor Sheehy. A rare position that seems set on paper. Adams is a wild card who has flashed the interior, pass rush ability that enticed the Packers to draft him in the 3rd round last year. If he continues to develop, he might push for playing time this fall. At the very least, he should make a strong group even stronger. Inside linebackers 3, locks, Blake Martinez, Oren Burks in the bubble, Ahmad Thomas, Greer Martin. Long shots, James Crawford, Marcus Porter, Nushin Hughes. Jockey Ryan's torn ACL left this position thin on numbers and experience. It also opened the door to Thomas or Martini, though it would be a stretch for the Packers to keep both. Thomas, a converted safety, has the coverage skills the Packers covet in the middle of the field. Martini, perhaps the top undrafted rookie in camp, has excelled on special teams. Martinez and Burks will play almost all the snaps this season if they stay healthy, but there's good competition for backup. Outside linebackers, 5-6, locks, Clay Matthews, Nick Perry, Reggie Gilbert, good bet, Kyler Fackrell in the bubble, Chris Odom, Vince Beagle long shots, Kendall Donnerson. James Hearn's new defensive coordinator Mike McCarthy identified his top 4 outside linebackers Wednesday in Matthews, Perry, Gilbert and Fackrell. Gilbert has been one of the most encouraging developments in camp, giving the Packers a third edge rusher who could potentially get after the quarterback. Fackrell's preseason has been up and down, with the same inconsistent play he showed in his first 2 years, but the Packers like him because he's reliable. Related, Clay Matthews hopes big year helps him stay in Green Bay Live blog. Follow all the news from Packers training camp. Odom, a former defensive end, changed his body this offseason, dropping down to 251 pounds when he weighed into camp. He's had a quiet preseason, but has shown flashes of pass rush potential. Beagle, too, has had a quiet preseason. The Packers would like at least one to earn a spot on the roster. Donnerson, a 7th-round pick this spring, appears destined for the practice squad. Cornerbacks, 6-7, locks, Tramon Williams, Kevin King, Jaire Alexander, Josh Jackson good bet, Davon House on the bubble, Dimitri Goodson, Josh Hawkins long shots, Herb Waters, Donatello Brown, Lindsey Pipkins. It's unclear how well Williams' 35-year-old body can withstand the rigors of a season, but he has been everything the Packers could have hoped so far. A veteran to lead the young group of corners, Williams will be an important model for King, Alexander and Jackson. King will be the top cornerback if he remains healthy. A year after his rookie season ended prematurely because of left shoulder surgery, he missed time in camp with a right shoulder injury. Alexander and Jackson have had their moments, including a pick six for Jackson against the Steelers, but both rookies can be expected to have growing pains early. Hawkins and Goodson lead the group of young corners fighting for a roster spot. Goodson's special teams ability should help him crack the 53, safeties, 4-5, locks, Clinton Dix, Kentrell Bryce, Josh Jones good bet, Jermaine Whitehead in the bubble, Quinton Rollins, Marvin Evans long shot, Raven Green if he stays healthy. Bryce is poised to be Morgan Burnett's replacement starting alongside Clinton Dix on the back end. The Packers like his physicality and intelligence, though he can sometimes overrun plays because of his aggressiveness. Jones has all the physical skills, but needs to play more consistently. Packers value Whitehead's versatility. He's able to line up in the slot or at deep safety. Rollins transitioned to safety in camp, giving him a chance to crack the roster. After tearing his Achilles last season, Rollins no longer has the speed to hold up as a perimeter corner. It's been a quiet preseason for Evans, who might need to flash in these last 2 exhibitions to make the roster. Specialists, 3, locks, Mason Crosby, J.K. Scott in the bubble, Hunter Bradley, Zach Triner. Crosby and Scott could give the Packers one of the top kicker-punter combinations in the league. Scott has been unsteady in exhibitions, but the Packers don't appear worried. The 5th-round rookie has shown a massive leg in practice. McCarthy said the Packers will give Bradley, a 7th-round pick this spring, and Triner the entire camp before making a decision. It would be a waste of a draft pick if Bradley doesn't make the team. Throughout this 100th season of the franchise, we'll be collecting and telling these stories of Packer Nation. How did you become a Packers fan? Submit your story and read how others found fandom. Submit your story.